This day 748, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. I can share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please come to me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. They were doing Siman Tav Samach, Sif Gimel, Tav Samach Aleph, Dalet. We're coming towards the end of this volume. Gimel. Cheresh. A person who is deaf mute, as he's momentarily to explain. Zeu she'enu shemei v'yodaber, v'shaita kamashmo. Shaita is like a means, somebody who's mentally challenged. The get shaita in his barbi yardea. It's explaining yardea what the definition of shaita is. Siman Aleph. See there. The katan hu kamashmo. Katan is that just it sounds like you can show me It's not 13 years and 1 day old. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the past, but 13 years and 1 day just means 13 as opposed to 12 when one enters the 13th year. When it says one is 13, that means one is 12, because one is entering the 13th year. It says one is 13 and 1 day old, that means one is 14. I'm sorry, one is 13, one is 13 years old at the bar mitzvah. You got the idea. Anyway, those say the katan mikra das. Is called katan is somebody who's no das, and that is a younger age than being bar mitzvah. When he has das, then when he understands that people say to him, she has to mitzvah, they should do for the purpose of mitzvah, but he's allowed to serve as a matzah baker lechatchila. It's like near body called dover. Disagrees. He says anything which has needs to be lishma, the person has to be 13 years old. And he says in brackets, let's see, Mishnah Berurah just brings down that by a girl to 12. And he says, he adds on, the chatchil is not really chazaka. That they 12 or 13, they have 2 hairs, unless they are significantly past the age of 13, in which case one can rely on it. Okay? It says further, early the summa b'shikar, a person who's blind or drunk, assume less will be just matzah. Now it'd be about needing matzah and setting it. Afa matzah she'en yisham mitzvah, even though it's matzah which is not going to use a person mitzvah. Summa lo yireh l'sov kol b'tzek yachad. The blind person will not be able to see to make sure that all of the dough is together. Ben kachel b'lei chimutz. Therefore, some of the outlying dough might come to become chametz. Bashikor and a drunk shita she'en yodei te mashlo seh. He doesn't know very well what he's doing. I feel like he was even though he's not insanely drunk. Nevertheless, Dal Havagav Yachol Lafos Matzah's Mitzvah de Shliach. Even though you're allowed to bake the matzah for the mitzvah by an agent. Come Batzmo, if it's possible to do himself, it's about Yisrim Shulchan. It's to do himself more than a shliach do it. The Rosh would stand by while they're making the matzah. They're making efforts to help with the matzah's mitzvah. And he would encourage the people involved and help in setting them. It's a great thing for anybody to be involved in this mitzvah. I have to be honest with you, I never went to make matzahs. Many people do. Ashreim v'tov chalka. And he brings down the brackets of Shem Ariza Kosa Bataz Shetikun Gadol Sham Mitzvah Zu Ad Shiazia Ayin Sham. It's a big tikkun to be involved in this mitzvah until you sweat while you're doing it. Hey, Halosh Achar Zman Isur Chametz. Somebody who's kneading dough after the time of the prohibition of chametz. Yomar B'Shas Lisha, should say at the time that he's kneading. Kol Apirum Shiplu B'Shas Lisha, any crumbs which fall at the time that I'm kneading. Varicho or setting. B'Chein Batzei Ebaglukelim, and so to dough which adheres to the vessels. And he mevatlosam, and he ate them. They should social balance some that he thus ways he's mevatlam before they come chametz. Because once it's already chametz, ain't but just levatlo. It's not in his jurisdiction to be mevatl anymore. Because it's time prohibition. After they finish with the kneading and the setting, they should clean the place where they kneaded and set the dough. Which says, if you find anything left of the dough, which is not included in the matzah, burn it. Alright, we know that crumbs, the person's mafkir, without even specifying. We're afraid maybe all of the the crumbs left over from the kneading will get together. Be a double choshen, will be something significant. People talk about that. Say after about them. Lo dami puri lechem. Famous having yachad. It's not like crumbs of bread. Crumbs of bread, they don't adhere together. They don't become one thing. That's why they're insignificant. Pirulim hefker. The Velt says, I guess the people who bake matzah say, the purim hefker, the crumbs are hefker, because of them in a oil. People say this is not effective lashon. The lashon zeh mashma the miyatzman ain't hefker. It seems to say that they're hefker on their own, not they're being mafker them. Okay, it's not true. El tzorich lamar you hefker. Purim will be hefker, meaning I'm making them hefker. I remember it's not going to mean Arukh HaShulchan says that is the Taz. But no, the minig is actually appropriate. The Mechametz Gilu Daito Sagi. Mechametz is enough just to reveal your intent. Because I'm going to see Metaf Lamrao being an Ikar Bittul in terms of how the Bittul works. The Frag Gabi Purim. Naturally, visibly crumbs. The Blavachi have a Hefker. Then any event, regardless, they're considered to be Hefker. Mishnah Berurah says, he doesn't go with this. He says, not even though some people miyash in the minhag, you should be yotzi all the deos by saying piruim you hefker. Brackets the Arukh HaShulchan says ein chol k'avsi v'chesh b'tayitz v'tam hefker havi k'neder. He goes with the lumnus that neder that hefker is a neder. Akbar b'yan b'chesh mishnah simulation yotzi dal the ein shum inyan hefker the neder ayin sham. Obviously it's a big achlekes. Even though hefker takes the form of an neder, where it actually is an neder, not for now. In the ancient times, they would make the marks on the three matzah for 9 seder. They didn't make actual marks, did they? No, they didn't actually make ones. Let's see. The first one to make college, which you may not motzi. Shani's Levi, second one called Leiti Al Yachatz. That's when he cut for split for Afikoma. Ashlishis Yisrael. I'll correct that was for the sandwich. Shav Lano Gukain Bishen Kedai Lashosa Matzahs Kodem Apia Lasos Simanim. And now we don't do it because that would impede the baking of the matzahs to make these signs in the matzah before they're baked. The Gemara already says you don't make elaborate loaves on Pesach. Ones which have etchings in them, matzahs make drawings on the matzahs. He tarries while doing that. The other day, is going to come to fermentation. But I also even you're going to use a mold, which is going to give that form. It's still awesome. Even even the bakers are accustomed to do all these things, and they don't cause them any delay. They come nevertheless, lo plug rabbanon, not showing any distinctions. Also, they forbade all manners of depictions on the matzahs. Come of the Evid, nevertheless, the imasu, they did it without asking. Learn us our matzah, but the matzah not become also on discount. Unless you spend extra amount of time making these designs. But if you do not, it's mutar chatchila to eat them. Not to be choshish. But nikurim shosim kakorin redlin. Little holes which you make a matzah. That's not going to be a depiction. But on the contrary, now seen my hair, they're made very quickly. And it's dealing with the dough, not putting something on the dough. Simon, it's dealing with the dough and it impedes the fermentation. Also, these holes make the matzah not get bloated in the oven, and therefore less likely to come to do chametz. The tovi yosh lasoske. To make those holes in matzah. I've never seen matzah without holes. Zayin energy matzah of a tefach. You don't make matzah which is a tefach thick. The kshiava kokach when it's so thick, yesh lachush lo yishlot eish ben tzizim mayer. And be concerned that the fire is not going to make it. It's in the middle that quickly. In other words, the heat. The oven it's going to become fermented. The mutar is bachila. The evidence mutar to eat even one which is thicker than a tefach. Mishnah Berurah says. Arukh says that no, if it's more tefach, you should ask even be the evan. Upachas mitevach mutter, but even if it's thick as less than tefach, that's okay. We should burn down some person even less than tefach. You should be careful not to do. But the Arukh HaShulchan is asking like it's okay no matter what. The Kimbu Chachamim to ascertain that the fire properly heats that up quickly enough. The our meaning is nonetheless to make them very flat crackers, and not thick like other bread. If they're just those thin discs, they don't become chametz so quickly. The ancient ones, which means not Chazal, but somewhere in ancient times, they forgot making mulios, which are to fill the dough with meat and eggs like pashtida, like a souffle. They impede the baking. And becomes more likely to become chametz. For the moisture comes out of the filling. It's like fruit juice. And fruit juice with water makes chametz more quickly. I feel it should be also. Unless the talk is zeroni, but if you put in it seeds, like rye bread, I feel like even they're not crushed up. It's muti b'diavad. She say because it doesn't make the baking take longer. Also, it's preferable not to put them in. We never see already baked rye matzah. Although not in Pesach, people do make everything matzah same thing nowadays. So Chadoshim Michal new development. And he says, I'm in brackets. I'm going to give sure Ganke mi basa b'chol by Sham. So going to time shkosam the sipa kodem beduk. I just went to the wrong place. No, I went to the wrong place. Sorry. Okay, Shav you have a karav lachmitz. The brackets is Tav Samachal. Sorry. Having of pairs, maybe as lachmitz. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did that already. I was confused there. Okay, fine. Never mind. Tav Samachal. Dini afiyas matzos. Where you bake the matzah. Okay? The Pesach. If you use an oven for chametz and you have to do proper libun, the right hot in order to make kosher Pesach. When you have to be careful when you stoke it up in order to bake matzah, that the coal should scatter through its entirety, may reach so from beginning to end. But also it's in the rim. In other words, you have to put hot coals on the rim in order to kasher the rim. It's not enough that the flames rise to the rim. The kapokach poto, because it has to be the same way it's absorbed is the same way it's going to release the taste. I'm not sure necessarily that there was coal up there, but he's saying there was coal up there which caused the absorption of chametz. A plate of so the release also has to be that level. And it has to be the entire oven sparks fly from the contact of your coals with the oven. Even if you heat it up several times for Pesach, if that was not the kasher for Pesach, that's not effective. The because it certainly was not meticulous that the coal should be on its entirety. Made the entirety of the oven. Nevertheless, if you did bake and did use the oven away, which you was reasonably sure that it caused release of chametz, and you then bake matzah, you can be matzah in this case. If they already heated up several times. Even though it wasn't a briskashre, the karavu, it's most likely at least one time coals were in its entirety. If it just has eaten multiple times, then once without the kavanah to be machsher, no good. And even the it's not good. The Mishnah Berurah says even if the place in the oven that you put the matzah, you know that definitely that got white hot. Oh no, it says if no, it says not even. It says if you know the place you put the matzah now, it's place which did get white hot, even though the entire oven not get white hot. He says you can. Prima Gaon says you can matzah with the oven. The brackets here says my everyone's going to have mashadam el cholav b'shvuos, which he likes is to where we could cook milk on shvuos after meat. The mitmiyani the shomov yivashim kelim below b'tan ratzmo. So it's not comparable because there we cook in vessels, not in the oven itself. Chametz matzah which goes flat directly on the oven. Tzarech and Beduk is not clear about this. Beis Yinei Mikar Din, according to strictly Rav Shema seeking a Turun Shem Hechsher, when you stoke up the oven for the purpose of Hechsher, Mutar Lehesik Zelafos Matzah. You should be allowed to use this, kill two birds with one stone, and make matzah with it. Come in a minute again. It's not the minute. After we do the burning out to make it kosher, we don't bake then. But you rather make a whole new fire to heat up for matzah after the oven is allowed to cool down. Minig yafu. It's a nice minig. V'tovi Yashar Zoske is supposed to do this. Sham Yasham Chametz Meimin Nisraf. It's an interesting idea. Maybe there was chametz, which got burnt as fuel in the fire. And that fire helped make the matzah. The Nibtz Shem b'chametz said I know from chametz on Pesach. Obviously, it's only relevant after it becomes usher. Because I'm seeing the top of my head. Punish time is another reason. If you bake with the same heat with which you make the hechsher, we're afraid that he might not make it hot enough because he might be afraid to burn the bread. Even though these are our own gzeros, not in the Gemara. Nevertheless, okay, if we are knowing such things, then it's a good moment. The brackets he says here, also means that milk and meat issue. Already dealt with that. Some people make a new lining on the floor of the oven. It's a nice minute. Was that answer chesek? In that case, you have a new lining. You don't have to burn out the oven. Even though there were absorptions of chametz on the top and the sides, not just in the floor of the oven. For that, it's enough the heat of the flame which you stoke for the baking matzah itself, which will go up and release whatever taste is in on the sides and on top. But that won't work for the side of the oven or the top of the oven, only in the oven. How thick should the new lining be? Because the bushkobi etzba finger breadth. Time in the year it seems the field he means the field b'davar machal lechas yosim ovi etzba. Even with food stuff, we never see that an issa penetrates more than the thickness of a finger. You're there kufay. Chametz should be less stringent because there's no grease which would cause whatever taste there was to spread throughout the thing. Which one else is a thing that says a finger? But yeah, the European says but yeah, but even less. Dalet tafka shocheres chadasha. Tapka, new pottery. Zel klish masikim tachtav is the vessel in which you make a fire underneath. Milamato, boven olam milman, and you bake on top. Then we don't have such a thing. But if we have it, mutar fasol matzah, good matzah in it. Since the fire is strong underneath, when your tachkafeh gets really boiled up, even though the flame does not go on top of it. And the bread is going to be baked immediately, and it's never going to be able to come to chimutz. But you have to be careful to ignite the fire underneath first, until it's really, really hot. And then you put the bread on top of it. Also, if you are baking in a pan without any liquid, Yisrael sik taktov chil Hashem mutach. Just to make sure that it's very, very heated up. Chagir become pass b'tocha and then put the bread inside it. The yad be or the matzah in this case. The yad be yad beka pass koy mikoy. If you take and put the bread there first, and then you only then boil it out. Yesh lachush should be we have to be concerned. Shema koydem sheyem mutach. Maybe before it became properly burnt out. Tachmitza pass, the bread became chametz. The matzah became chametz. I feel b'diavad yesh lachmir. The bread become chametz. Yeah, and that's you have to first make the fire, not put in the dough first. But if you have your shemir on the king, you should pass acher. If you have that, you machmer unless you have absolutely no other matzah. Chayin also see matzah tanur on the yard. I have to put matzah in an oven on paper. But if you did it, it's not a problem. The vadai shoyba or derech hanir shudak, the fire definitely gets through that paper because it's very, very thin.